Welcome back to Family Tales by WZ. In today's story, we explore what happens when a wife decides she's settled for her plumber husband after comparing him to her rich friends. As you listen, notice the moment where you think he should have drawn the line. My girlfriend said, "I am not in love with you," I replied. "Then we're done." Then I canceled the proposal trip, split our bills, ended our lease, and walked away from her comfort plan before she saw the life I built without her. My wife said I made a mistake marrying a plumber. We were driving home from dinner at her friend's mansion when she said it. I gripped the steering wheel, stared at the road, and chose to grab my keys later and walk out instead of saying something I would not be able to take back. I am Cole, 35, a licensed master plumber in Denver. I have been doing this work for about 15 years. I own a small business with a couple of guys working for me. I make around $75,000 a year, which is solid where I live. It is not flashy, but our bills are paid, we have savings, and we are not drowning in debt. There is a lot of quiet pride in that kind of stability. My wife, Sable, is 34. We have been married for 5 years, together for 7. She works in retail management at Nordstrom. Our life has been pretty simple. Small house in a decent neighborhood, one nice vacation a year, game nights with friends, movies on the couch. Nothing dramatic, nothing fancy, just a steady, decent marriage. At least that is what I thought. About a month ago, Sable ran into an old college friend at a work event. Her name is Tessa. She is one of those people who looks like her life was curated by a magazine. Her husband, Hunter, owns an engineering firm. They live in a mini mansion in Cherry Hills, have perfect kids in private school, designer everything, and an Instagram page full of sunsets and champagne. Sable came home glowing after they reconnected. She showed me Tessa's Instagram, pointing out the vacations, the kitchen, the cars. I was honestly happy for her. Retail can be draining. Having an old friend back in her life seemed like a good thing. But after their first lunch, small comments started slipping in. Tessa's husband is taking her to Aspen again this month. Tessa's kitchen renovation cost more than our whole house. I would nod and say something like, "That is nice for them," and go back to checking invoices. Looking back, that was the first real crack I ignored because I wanted everything to still feel normal. Last weekend, we were invited to dinner at their house. The place was exactly what you would expect. Huge, professionally decorated with a mountain view that probably added $1 million to the price tag. Hunter seemed fine, just quiet. Tessa talked most of the time. Vacation homes, charity boards, private schools, all the markers of a life built for people to look at. The drive home is when things fell apart. Sable had been drinking. She was not wasted, but she was definitely looser than normal. Out of nowhere, she asked, "Why did you never try to do more with your life?" I was confused. "What do you mean? You are smart. You could have gone to college, started a bigger business, made real money. Why did you settle for just being a plumber?" It stung. I kept my voice even. "I make good money. We are comfortable." "Comfortable is not the same as successful," she said. Hunter's company made $8 million last year. "We cannot all be Hunter," I said, trying to make a joke. "That is the problem," she muttered. "We cannot all be Hunter, but some of us are stuck with men who do not even try to be." The rest of the drive was silent. When someone ties your worth to your paycheck, that is not about love, that is about image. I told myself it was the alcohol. I thought she would be embarrassed in the morning. She was not. The comments continued over the next week. "Do you really want to spend your whole life fixing toilets?" Tessa's husband takes her to New York for her birthday every year. "We went to that same cabin again. Maybe you should look into going back to school or something." Yesterday was the breaking point. I came home from a brutal job. Backed up sewer line, the kind of job that pays well because nobody wants to do it. I had already showered at the shop, but I still felt like I smelled like a swamp. I just wanted to sit down and breathe. Sable was at the kitchen table, scrolling through her phone. She barely glanced up when I walked in. "Rough day?" I asked. "Not really, just thinking." "About what?" She set her phone down and looked straight at me. about whether marrying you was the biggest mistake of my life. It felt like getting punched in the chest. What are you talking about? Tessa said something today that hit me. She said women need to know their worth and not settle. And looking at you, coming home smelling like sewage for 15 years, I realized that is what I did. I settled. I made a mistake marrying a plumber. I just stood there. The woman I loved more than anyone, the woman I had worked hard to build a life with, was now talking about me like I was a bad purchase. I am going out, I said finally. I grabbed my keys and left before I said something I could not take back. I ended up at my buddy Blake's place. He has worked with me for years. He asked what happened and I told him everything. "Dude, you know Hunter's company is in trouble, right?" he said. I had no idea. What do you mean? My cousin works for one of their suppliers. Word is, Hunter has been missing payments. He laid off half his staff last month. They say he is drowning in debt trying to keep up appearances. I sat there, stunned. So the man whose lifestyle my wife had been comparing me to was one step away from losing everything. This is a good reminder that some highlight reels are just debt with good lighting. That night I checked into a cheap hotel. First night in our marriage that I did not sleep at home. Sable's text switched from angry to apologetic real fast once she realized I was actually gone. "I am so sorry, I did not mean it, we can talk. You are overreacting, please come home. I needed space." In the morning I went back to the house. She was still in pajamas, eyes red from crying. As soon as I walked in, she rushed to hug me. "I am so sorry, I did not mean what I said, I was just in a bad place. Let's sit down and talk," I said. We sat in the living room. I asked her what was really going on. "This is not just about my job, is it?" She looked down at her hands. "It is seeing Tessa again. She has everything I thought I would have by now. The big house, the lifestyle, the status. When we were in college, everyone thought I would be the successful one. And I am holding you back," I asked. "No. I mean, sometimes I wonder what life would have been like if I had married someone more ambitious, like Hunter." She said it so quietly, but every word landed. Sometimes the hardest truth is the one they finally admit out loud. "Is that what Tessa has been telling you?" I asked. "That you should have married someone like Hunter?" "Not exactly. She just talks about knowing your worth and not settling, about women limiting themselves by choosing safe partners instead of reaching for more. And you think you settled for me?" She did not answer right away. That silence said enough. "Are you embarrassed by what I do?" I asked. "Embarrassed to tell people your husband is a plumber?" "Sometimes," she whispered. I sat back. "I make more than a lot of college graduates. We own our home, we have savings. We have no debt besides the mortgage. What exactly is not good enough? It is not the money, it is status," she said. "Tessa does not have to explain her husband's career to anyone, so that is how you see it. I just fix toilets. You run a business," she said quickly. "I know that. I do not want to feel small next to my friends." We talked in circles for a while. She blamed Tessa's influence, her own insecurities, her family's expectations. I went to sleep in the guest room. The next day, I called my brother Mike. He is a financial advisor. I asked him to look into Hunter's company. 2 days later, he called back. "It is bad," he said. 60% staff laid off, missed loan payments, building lien. They are hanging on by a thread. A few hours after that, Hunter called me himself. I had never given him my number. He must have asked Sable or gotten it from invitations. "Can we meet man to man?" he asked. "There is stuff you should know." We met at a bar near my place. He looked tired, older than he had at the dinner. "I know what Tessa has been saying to your wife," he said, "and I am sorry." He did not dance around it. He told me they were a month from bankruptcy. House close to foreclosure, cars about to be repossessed. The perfect life was smoke and mirrors. "Tessa is recruiting landing spots," he said bitterly. "She is poisoning your wife against you because she is jealous of your stability. She calls you a loser in her texts, but she also talks about how you are dependable, how you keep your word, how you actually have savings. I have screenshots of everything. Financial statements, chats. If you want them, they are yours." It was a lot to take in. Part of me felt bad for him. Another part realized that my marriage had been used as a mirror for their mess. Comparing your relationship to someone else's life, when you do not know what is really going on, is one of the fastest ways to ruin what you already have. I went home that night and told Sable I knew more than what she had been saying out loud. I told her Hunter had talked to me, that I knew about the layoffs, the missed payments, the lies. She stared at me, shocked. They are broke, I said, and somehow that pushed Tessa to try to break us too. Sable started crying again. She said she had been stupid, that she got swept up in the fantasy, that she let Tessa's words get into her head. But then she mentioned the lake house. Tessa invited us to their lake house this weekend, she said. Hunter will be out of town, just us girls and a few friends. The timing lined up a little too neatly with what Hunter had told me. I did not say anything yet, but every alarm bell in my head was ringing. This is that point where a lot of people freeze, pretend nothing is wrong, and hope the storm passes. The next morning, I texted Hunter and asked for the screenshots. He sent a whole folder. Texts between him and Tessa. Texts between Tessa and Sable. Group chats. At first it was just Tessa planting seeds. What are you doing with a plumber? You could have anyone. Sable defending me. Then slowly the tone shifted. Sometimes I wonder if I settled. Cole is never going to be ambitious. Tessa scripting lines. Ask him why he never did more with his life. Tell him plumbers are fine, but you deserve more. And then there was the lake house. Tessa telling her Jay will be there. He is a divorce attorney. You should meet him. Time to upgrade. Sometimes the betrayal is not just what your partner says. It is how ready they were to say it to other people. That night, Sable was in the bedroom packing for the lake house, humming to herself. I walked in and sat on the edge of the bed. We need to talk, I said. I know about Jay being at the lake house, and I know Tessa has been coaching you on how to test me. She froze. Her face went white. What are you talking about? I have seen the texts, I said, the ones calling me a loser, the ones where she tells you to play games with our marriage. The ones where she frames me as some starter husband you can trade in later. Sable started crying again, hard this time. She admitted that Tessa had said there would be friends there, that maybe she would like one of them, that it was good to keep options open. She swore she had not planned to cheat, just that she felt flattered that someone thought she could do better. You are my wife, I said. You are supposed to be on my side. Instead, you let someone else turn our life into their project. I am going to my brother's for the weekend, I told her. You can go to the lake house and see how that feels, or you can stay here and think about whether this marriage means anything to you. Whatever you choose, I am done feeling like I am not enough. I packed a bag. She begged me to stay to talk more, to give her another chance. I needed distance. I left. The weekend at Mike's was exactly what I needed. He and his wife listened. They reminded me that my work has value. My brother even laughed and said, you make more than I do, and I have a master's degree. Plumbers with your experience and client list are basically printing money these days. On Sunday, I glanced at my phone and saw a final text from Sable. Coming home today. Something happened at the lake house. We need to talk. When I walked into our living room that night, she was sitting in the dark, eyes swollen, still wearing the same clothes from Friday. Where have you been? She asked. I have been calling and texting. At Mike's, I said. I told you that is where I would be. I thought you were just saying that. She took a shaky breath. I went to the lake house, she said, and it was a setup, just like you said. She told me everything. Tessa had invited that divorce attorney, Jay, and introduced them like she was auctioning Sable off. She basically announced to the room that Sable was looking to leave her dead-end husband for someone with better prospects. Sable tried to correct her, but Tessa pulled her aside and told her to play the game if she wanted to upgrade her life. That is when I realized what she was doing, Sable said. She was not my friend. She was trying to break us up. Things got messy. Tessa got drunk and started ranting. She slipped up and admitted the financial problems, the affair, everything. 2 of her friends left. The whole polished image cracked in front of everyone. Then Hunter showed up. He was not supposed to be there. He walked in, heard enough, and just looked done. He told everyone the truth about the bankruptcy, about the years of living beyond their means, about how Tessa refused to downsize or admit anything was wrong. After most people left, he pulled Sable aside and said something that stuck in her head. "Do not be like us." We built our life trying to impress people who do not care. Now we have nothing real to hold on to. Sable looked at me with red eyes. "That is what I was doing," she said. "I was risking something real for something that was never real in the first place. I wish I could say that fixed everything. It did not." Trust had been broken. My confidence had taken a hit, and Sable had to face how much she cared about status. But it was a start. We agreed to see a counselor. At first, I went mostly to see if there was anything left to save. The therapist helped us see how our background shaped us. Sable grew up in a family where success was measured by what people could see. I grew up with people who were just proud that the lights stayed on and the bills were paid. Neither is right or wrong, but they clash when no one talks about it. Over the next months, we worked on communication. We talked about envy, insecurity, and respect. We set clearer boundaries about friends who stir up trouble. Sable cut Tessa off completely. She left retail and took a marketing job that actually uses her skills instead of just her image. She started talking about money in terms of stability instead of bragging rights. Meanwhile, my business has grown. I hired another plumber and an apprentice. We focus more on commercial contracts now. I am not ashamed of what I do anymore. I stopped letting someone else's shame sit on my shoulders. Tessa and Hunter divorced. He downsized to a small condo and a used Honda and is slowly rebuilding his life without pretending. Tessa moved in with her personal trainer, Jay. He left when he realized she was broke. Now she is online talking about minimalism and simple living. The irony writes itself. Oddly enough, Hunter and I became friends. I fixed a plumbing issue at his new place. Afterward, we grabbed beer. Without the expensive shell, he was just a tired guy who had learned his lesson the hard way. I spent years thinking success had to look a certain way, he told me. None of it made me happy. It just made me chase more. These days, the real proof that things are different at home shows up in small ways. When one of Sable's college friends posted about her husband making partner and buying a vacation home, Sable just showed me the post and rolled her eyes. "But they are leveraged to the eyeballs," she said. "Want to watch that show you keep talking about? We are not perfect. We still have moments where old patterns creep in. But now we see them and name them instead of letting them quietly rot the foundation." Repair is possible, but it only works if both people are honest about the ugly parts, not just the romantic ones. Here is what I have learned from all of this. Lesson 1: if someone starts tying your worth to status and image, that is not love. That is insecurity looking for a target. Lesson 2: never compare your real life to someone else's highlight reel. You do not know what their debt or pain looks like off camera. Lesson 3: work that is honest and stable is not settling. There is dignity in any job done well and done with integrity. Lesson 4: friends who chip away at your relationship and call it knowing your worth are not friends. They are a threat to your peace. Lesson 5: counseling can help, but only if both people are willing to own their choices and change, not just blame outside influences. Lesson 6: building a life to impress strangers is a fast way to lose the people who actually know you. What about you? At what point in this story would you have walked away for good? Have you ever felt someone try to make you doubt the value of your work or your lifestyle because it did not look fancy enough from the outside?